What's up, everybody? So what was that bug 5 years ago? You know, the scientific community would say it was natural. It was naturally occurring. Was it? I really don't think so. And it's not just an opinion. I mean, just looking at the evidence of this thing. So, just a little bit about my background. I actually have a Bachelor of Science degree in physics, and I have a Bachelor of Science degree in biomathematics. And in 2018, I finally graduated with those two degrees. I got accepted into a PhD program for bioinformatics, and spent 2 years in that program before the bug hit. And in that program, I actually was working in a synthetic biology lab, working on we were basically making synthetic viruses. Now I know some people might, oh my God, you're making viruses. We were not doing it for some kind of weapons program. But it's dual use. Anything when you get into this level of technology, it's dual use. It has a lot of medical applications and here's what got me into it. People need to, if you're just curious about this kind of stuff, look at the case of this 9-year-old girl called Emily Whitehead. She was pretty high stage leukemia, 9 years old. She was gonna die, and this is an old story too, and this is what got me into this. They cured this kid, 9 years old, completely cured her of her cancer. She was gonna die. So that's what the potential of this kind of technology has, but the other potential is you can make some really nasty weapons with it. And I think that's what this last thing was. And what do I think they were trying to do? And it's not just one data point that leads me to believe this thing was a weapon. Just the psychological aspects of it. Now, some people are going to blow back and say, well, it had a low fatality rate, right? Did it? Do you even really know the fatality rate? And then people would confuse things with saying, oh, well, you know, they were mixed. Somebody got in a car crash and they said they died with COVID because they had COVID. Yeah, that kind of stuff is statistical crap. But I'm talking about looking at the actual data of this thing. Like, what's the next, the prior ancestor virus to this thing? What had to change in this coronavirus, in its closest relative, to get it to what COVID was? What had to change in that virus? There's numerous inserts into this thing. Now that can occur naturally. Generally, when you have a mutation in a virus, it flips one of the nucleotides. It's like changes in the adenine to cytosine or something like that. But this thing has entire inserts in it. And then there was a paper that came out real early, like 2020, that bioinformatics guys were looking at this thing and going, hey, this thing's got inserts from high five. And if you know what I mean by high five, just sound it out. That other bug, high five. And it was supposedly debunked. Supposedly. Now here's the question you have to ask yourself: is it really debunked? The way they said it was debunked is like, oh, the methods of these scientists were questionable, blah blah. This is bollocks. This is the kind of crap they use to confuse people that don't know anything about this kind of science. There's just at least two questions you need to ask yourself. Are those inserts in there? Number one. Number two, are they in a location to where it's going to get the same functionality as high five? Number three, and is it in the same location where it needs to be on the spike protein? And number three, is it carrying out the same function as what it does in high five, specifically to get into CD4 lymphocytes? So I was watching this thing. I was like, oh, this is really bad. Something about this whole thing that happened in 2020, it just unnerved me. I was like, this is not right. This is something This is something that we all need to pay attention to. And the close family members, I try to tell them, it was just so frustrating. Clueless. I'm like, you need to take this shit seriously. And everybody's just like, oh, I don't want to be locked up. I don't want to wear a mask. Blah, blah, blah. Like a bunch of fucking crybabies. Like I'm like looking at this and like going, hey, this looks like high five. This looks like somebody tried to make high five airborne. Specifically, no longer sexually transmitted. Airborne high five. Airborne. Like, oh, people. I'm not even going to go into it, but yeah, it was just so aggravating. But yeah, it's concerning. And you look at this thing, and they said originally this paper, they debunked it. And I'm like looking, hey, is it carrying out the functionality of getting into CD4 lymphocytes? And it appears it is. There are several papers that talk about this. That's still ongoing research, but it gets into CD4 T cell lymphocytes, just like high five. So it's a hybrid spike protein is what it is. Now getting into T lymphocytes, has to go through the CD4 receptor. For those that don't know, a receptor on a cell, you can imagine like like on our cells in our body. They have all these little receptors to allow things to get in and out. That's just to carry out our normal body functions. Viruses and sometimes bacteria will hijack or make use of those. It's basically, imagine it like a keyhole. Okay, if I can, hack the lock, pick the lock, if I know the key sequence to get into certain receptors as a virus, I can get in and out. That's basically it in a nutshell. I mean, in very layman's terms. So that's what COVID-19 was doing. It was getting into ACE2 receptors, which are a lot of in your lungs, and it's also, the virus is growing in your lungs, and so when you cough, it's spreading it. That's what makes the virus airborne. So what it looks like they've done with this virus is it not only can unlock and get into ACE2 receptors, which gives it the functionality of being airborne, it also, like high five, has the receptor, it has the portion of its spike protein that allows it to get into CD4 receptors. So it's like, imagine two keys on the spike protein. There's two keys. One to get into ACE2, gives you the functionality of being airborne. The other one to get into CD4 T cell lymphocytes. Two keys on the spike protein. They don't talk about this. Why? I think because they know it would create, especially talking about it back then, it would create mass panic. Imagine what it would do to world economies, right? Everybody's already can barely afford to make it. You got so many people working minimum wage crap jobs. What if you were told the public and they start thinking, hey, this low wage freaking crap job now is a risk to my life? It's bad, folks. It's bad. This is one of the reasons why I've completely changed my outlook on everything in life. This is going down. It is going down. The whole world, the instability. You've got somebody released this crap. Somebody's researching shit like this, and somebody fucked up and either accidentally released it or intentionally released it on the world population. Now, here's the thing. It's watered down high five, right? It's your immune system can beat it. It's not like the original high five, which there's two key proteins in high five. One's called integrase and one's called reverse transcriptase. That's what makes high five uncurable. Presently, uncurable. So I've tried, some close people, even really smart people that I've talked to, they can't see it. They don't want to see this. I had a buddy of mine at work. I'm just like telling him this kind of stuff. He's like, I don't believe that. I'm like, why don't you believe it? They just So his whole take on what happened in 2020 and through 2023 was the world just overreacted. It was all just a Democrat, blah, 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 control. I'm like, yeah, but why? Why are they freaking out like this? And I'm like, they're looking, the people at the top are looking at the same kind of data that I'm looking at. Why do you think they locked the world down? They're going to do stuff and not tell you about it. Just like, look at what this idiot just did in charge, right? They're staging, getting ready to attack this country while pretending to negotiate with them. They're never going to tell you the truth about anything, people. But yeah, he's like close guy I know at work. No, he doesn't believe it. And I think part of the problem is, and I'm sending him papers. I'm sending him papers where, hey, it's showing, hey, this thing gets into CD4 lymphocytes. It gets into your T cells. Well, he would counter with things like, well, it has a low fatality rate. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, upon initial infection, right? Upon initial infection, yeah, it has a low fatality rate, but what's the true fatality rate of this thing? You don't know until it kills somebody or doesn't. I knew a guy just down one of the places I frequent, downtown. He's actually younger than me. He got it again and it killed him this time. Finally killed him. So this buddy of mine, he's like, well, it's got a low fatality rate. Yeah, short term. I'm like, what about high five? When you get the initial infection, you might get a cold. It's got a low fatality rate too upon initial infection. How long does it take to kill you? Years. And I kind of got the gears turning a little bit in his head, but not enough. I think a lot of people do not want to look at this, do not want to accept the truth on this because it's fucking frightening. It's horrifying what they're doing. It's shit like this. Why? I'm getting a fucking sailboat. Peace out, guys.